Hi everyone, it's Tiffany with Ready Set Create. Welcome back to my 12 by 12 days of Christmas. I'm showing you 12 days of tips, tricks, and techniques for your holiday scrapbook layouts. Today is day 8. Let's get started. Now I have to apologize before I get started. Warning, this video cuts off before I finish the layout, which really stinks. I'm not sure what happened, but unfortunately, you don't get the last couple of minutes of the layout. So I will show you some stills of the finished product. I am creating some ornaments tonight using the diamond from the Gemstone custom cutting system. And I'm using the blue blade on the inside of the diamond to create the smallest diamond. And this green paper is paper that I've had in my stash for a long time. It's from a project recipe from, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 years ago. It's a really pretty green. The other side has some strawberries on it. I think it's National Scrapbook Day from a few years ago. And then this is another little scrap that's from that collection, this pale green stripe. And I just love these papers, so I'm happy to put them to good use. So I'm cutting 3 diamonds, 2 out of the dark green and 1 out of that mint green. And now I'm grabbing the large circle from the Circle custom cutting system. And I have one last sheet of bronze shimmer left. They discontinued bronze shimmer, so this is my very last piece. Gold shimmer would work just as well. This piece just happened to be on my desk. So I'm cutting the inside circle with the green blade first. And then I will just set that circle that I cut aside because I'm actually not using it for this layout. And now, keeping that template in place, I'm going to swap the green blade for the red blade and carefully cut again. And that's going to give me a ring. Now, I should have repeated this process and made a second ring, but I didn't. So when you're doing this layout, go ahead and make a second ring before you put your things away, because you will need it. Now I'm grabbing my 12-inch trimmer, and I'm going to swap out the straight blade for the scallop. So I'm just going to pop that straight blade out, flip it over, and all of my different blades are stored on the back. So I'm going to grab the scallop blade and just pop that into place. It's so easy to just swap out your blades. And I'm going to cut a 1-inch strip using the scallop. And I want the strip to be scalloped on both sides. This one already had a scalloped cut on the edge, so I just need to trim that other side. And I forgot, I trimmed it wrong. So you need to trim it once, flip it over, and trim it the other way. That way the scallop is rounding out on both sides. The way I just trimmed it, it was rounding in. So you want it rounded out on both sides. So you trim it, then flip it, and trim it again. And a very important step is to remember to swap out that blade, put your straight blade back in, before you go to cut a photo mat or something and have that scallop still in your trimmer. I've done that many times, so I try to always remember to just swap that blade out right away. Now I'm going to start to put together my layout. The first thing I'm going to do is my standard of gutting out the center of the red. Oh, I'm going to trim this one first. I'm going to trim this background paper down to 11.5 by 11.5. So I'm going to trim 1 inch off of 2 sides. And you can see I've already used this to cut something out of beforehand. So it's fine that I cut it away because I'm going to be covering it anyways. And now I'm going to gut the center out of that red. So I'm just going to trim. I'm going to bring my blade down to 1 inch, and I'm going to trim around all 4 sides so that I have a 1 inch frame to use. I'm putting adhesive on this first, forgetting that I want to gut out the center. So I'll realize that in a moment. Yep, here I go, remembering. Oh, cut out that center. And you can discard this piece that you end up cutting from the center. You can just put it in your scraps. You can use it for matting. But it's a great way to cut down on the bulk of your layout. And you would be, if you're covering this anyways, you might as well cut it out and save it for something else. I tend to be very frugal with the way I craft. And this is just a really easy way to save a little bit of cardstock. So now I'm ready to place that trimmed paper over the mat, over the frame, and you're seeing that, there's that little piece cut out on the bottom left. That's okay, because now I have this kind of gingham paper that was also in that National Scrapbook Day kit. Just a little piece of it left, and it does have a scallop edge on one side, so I'm going to see that and flip my paper over so the scallop shows up on the red side. This is just a scrap. I'm making the most I can of the leftovers in this kit so that they're pretty much all used up at this point. And now I'm ready to start building my ornaments. So I'm going to grab those 3 diamonds that I cut in the beginning and kind of place them where I'd like them to go. And I'm going to trim that gold or the bronze scalloped strip. I'm going to trim 1-inch pieces. And these are going to be the tops of each of the ornaments. So I just need 3 little pieces, and I can set aside that other strip and maybe use it for something else. These are going to go on the tops of each of the diamonds, and you will see now they're really going to start to look like ornaments. Right now they just look like diamonds. And maybe you think I'm a little crazy for telling you these are ornaments. So I'm going to put those in place with a little bit of adhesive, and then I'm ready to add the toppers to them. And just putting those gold pieces in place so that they cover the top of the diamond and kind of line up with the edge. And then it really gives it an ornament look. It totally transforms them. And now it's time to grab those rings that we cut out earlier and put those to use. So these are going to become the string that the ornaments are on, the wire. And you can kind of decide how you want them to go, if you want them flopping up or down. I'm just kind of adding a little bit of adhesive to the back and then figuring out how I want them to go. See what makes the most sense. And this is probably the most complicated part of the layout, is just trying to make these rings work. You could certainly cut a larger circle and then you would get a little bit wider rings. They wouldn't be as rounded. And I think maybe if I did it again, I might cut a larger circle just so I had some, they weren't as round as they are. But I'm just putting that ring so it hangs off the edge, and I'll trim off the excess, and then I can use that excess as another piece so that it looks like the ornaments are all connected. And you can see this is kind of a fussy, fidgety kind of thing to try to get the placement right of these wires and the ornaments. And so I definitely recommend using repositionable on your ornaments so that you can move them around as needed to get your ornaments connected in a way that makes sense. So that's what I'm working on now, is just trying to get them all connected on this wire, so they're not just these funny loops going across my layout. And again, I apologize. This is about the time when my layout cuts out. So I'm going to realize that I need to cut another ring, and I'm going to do that. I'm going to map my photos, and I'm going to add a title that says Merry and Bright. And the title comes from, it's a sticker from the Christmas Charm collection. And so I will post some final videos of the finished layout. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.